Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world today. Well, this is day 2 of me working on the conversion of my Lambda functions that I've written using Node into .NET 6. Yesterday, I got through the majority of one of them. Had a little bit of a snag, couldn't work out what was going on in regards to a TTL, but I did ultimately work it out offline. And what it was that the TTL that was provided by the sample request that I had here, this was in the past. So this value here is from 2 years ago. And every time I was getting a request, I kept going, why isn't it current? Why isn't it current? Because when you run a normal Lambda function, this value is always current. But because I was using a sample tool or a mock tool, I forgot, and the actual value was from the past. So everything was actually working the way it was expected to. But silly me just made a mistake. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to focus on today, is the second Lambda function I have, which is responsible for starting up a network game session. So the first one was to create it, and this one is to update the status of it so that it's ready to be played. All right, so this will be that the players have already joined the game, and once everybody's joined, you can press the start button, and that's when the game starts. Right, so that's what this Lambda function was doing. All right, but it was doing it using JavaScript and Node. So I'm going to move this over into my own .NET application. So now what I've got is I've got 2 projects at the moment in my solution. One was the play game handler that we were looking at yesterday. The other one, which I'm about to look at today, is the start game one. So I'm just going to set this as a startup project, and I don't believe I can do that while the application is running. That's okay. So now we'll set it to startup project, so that when we press the play button next time, it'll run this one, not the other one. So technically, I'll probably need to do both anyway. All right, so we're going to be doing a little bit of duplication because I am not always the best fan of sharing code. It depends on what it is. I think a lot of people tend to get caught up in everything has to be shared just because it's called in 2 different places. I don't always believe that's the case. It's called DRY, right? Don't repeat yourself. There was another acronym that somebody said a while ago, like, you can repeat yourself twice, but any more than twice, and then you might want to start sharing. Something like that. But I think sharing leads to tight coupling sometimes, where you're tightly coupling the behavior of something. So to me, I always try to share as little as possible, and the only stuff I do share is stuff I know I will never ever change because it's talking to some API or something. And if it's talking to some API, then the only time it will change is if it needs to change for everybody anyway. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to focus on, is keeping this stuff very separate. So we had a start file in the old project. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm literally going to paste it. All right, and I'm going to look in here and see what we've got. So I still want to have a service provider. I still want to have logging. I still want to use the mediator pattern. But for now, what I might do is I'm going to get rid of these dependencies because it'll have different dependencies. And we'll bring these things in. So service collection, we have to install Microsoft Extensions dependency injection. And I believe I can do that from package manager. So let's just do that quick. So some of this stuff I already have as NuGet packages for the solution. I just need to install them into this project. So this one here, it's already installed here. We're going to install this one here as well. And we'll just go bang. And hopefully that should fix some of that. All right, and then we need to bring in mediator and the logging. Function, it's still called function. I just need to bring that in as an import because it's a different, and this one will say start game handler. So I think the issue there is some of these things don't need to come in. Alright, now I need to install Mediator again. I'm pretty sure I've got this installed at the solution level. Mediator extension dependency injection, that's pretty sure that's all I need. But that's already inside of Start Game Handler. But it's, oh no, hang on. It's already, yeah, that's right, yeah, install. Cool. So hopefully it's getting less. Anyhow, close this one. So now we just need to implement the logging. Again, that's global level. And which one was it? It probably says the one that says logging, isn't it? Cool. Alright, so I've got my startup project. Oh, I need the Lambda logger, do I? What did that come from again? There's a Lambda logger. Have a look at the startup in this one. Which... Microsoft extension logging. Lambda logging ASP.NET Core. Okay. Must be another NuGet package that I have to bring in as well. Ah, yeah, there it is. So it's 3.1. This is also 3.1. Accept. Okay. Now it's officially all good, right? This is play game handler. Start game handler. Yep, that looks good. All right, so we've got our dependencies in. Now I need to go to the function, and we're going to do some of the things in the function that we did in the previous function, because this one's just doing a string. I'm actually going to bring in the ability to return one of these. So this now will become async task of one of these. And I need to install that as well. So let's just quickly do that. And the good thing is this comes through pretty quickly. And I just realized I might need the toilet. What a time to need to go to the toilet, eh? I just started streaming. But I might need the toilet. Don't know if I can hold it. Alright. We got that. And then we also need to bring in the request. And the context, which I believe I already have. So it's, yeah, I already had the context. Cool. Alright. Now, I'm just going to return this for the minute. Which some mocked up data. Here we'll have requests written. And here we're just going to go status code 200. And the body will just say null for a minute. Doesn't really matter. Why did I put 100? Okay. So let's just give this a test, make sure it's actually going to work. And I haven't broken anything so far. So we're testing Start Game Handler. Yep, that's good. We're going to test it with a V2 HTTP API endpoint. Execute, and we've got 200. Cool. All right, so everything's working from a fundamental level. And what I might do quickly is actually take that quick little break. So sorry about that, guys, but I'll see you in a few minutes. All right. Jeez. That was not a good start to my stream. Never mind. Oh, excuse me. All right. Jesus, sneezes. So the next step is I have to add the mediator code here. So mediator. So I'm gonna grab the mediator. So music? Yeah. All good. Cool. And I need to in the constructor. Actually, I just realized I found out the other day. I don't know how true this is, but I shouldn't use a constructor to initialize everything. So somebody said to do this, but I think what I should do is this. No, it doesn't work. It's just because this gets instantiated every time. Alright. I think. I'm pretty sure that gets called every Lambda call. Anyway, I'll leave it there for now. So we're going to do the same here as well. Like so. And now, so if I start .services get required service, what did I do? Yes. I did this boot up code. This boot up code prevents me from, if I haven't set up the services, it tells me straight away I can't run the Lambda, right? Now I can go var response equals await mediator dot send, and I haven't really thought about what I'm going to send yet, so I just send an object. Let's put new for now. I haven't worked out what I'm going to do, but I think that's the same as what I got here, right? Yeah, await mediator send. Yeah, cool. Nice. All right. So this is where I'll now need to have a look at my Lambda that I wrote in Node and work out what its inputs are. So its inputs. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, that's not the index file. That's what the problem is. Alright, so I've got to acquire the session ID from the headers. And then if that doesn't exist, I instantly reject the request. So let's see if I send this. Alright. So I've got the request here, right? So I can actually even run this code before I even check for the services check. Or do I want to do that? No, I probably should return a 500 before I return any 400s. So people can base their retry logic on whether it's 500 error or not. But I can put here var. Well, let's go context.logger.log request looks like, actually, no, let's not do that. I'm gonna actually run a mock first. And I'm going to do this. Add a breakpoint. I'm going to add it just after just at the mediator step. I'm then going to execute function. And I'm going to look at what's inside the request object. So we've got headers. Header 1, header 2, right? Cool. So var API session, or I could just put session ID equals request dot headers dot. I don't know. I just do this, right? How about that a second? Alright, and what I'm going to send it is what header name. I'm going to send API session ID. Like that. And before I do anything, what I might do is I'm going to check to see if it will throw an exception if I just send it without the header. Will this throw an exception, or will it just return null? I have a gut feeling because C#, it's going to throw an exception. Which is why I was defending it in the first place. So if I just send this without the header in it, yeah. The given key was not present in the dictionary, yeah. Figured it would do that. Okay. Now if I do it, it should just throw a different kind of error. Or no error at all because I haven't written the check yet. So now we've got null, which is correct, right? Now I'm going to tweak this up a bit and put in that header. Whoops. That should. Is it like that? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it will be. There it is. Cool. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So now I'll go if session ID is null, and then we need to reject it. We need to return a new API gateway. HTTP API v2 property response. And this will be status code not 500, it'll be 400. And then the body will be good, not locate the session ID in the headers. Please make sure you send. No, do not look at the session ID in the headers. Please make sure you send it. No. Make sure the API session ID header is set. with your session ID. Cool. And I can fix up the text and stuff a little bit later. So now if I run this should now by default reject me with that error if I don't actually add the thing in. Could not locate the session ID. Beautiful. Okay, cool. It works. Now this is where we get into what do we do next. Alright, so now we're going to get some business rules. But the first one is to get the data by that host session ID. Alright, so now this is where we head into our mediator. Ultimately, this could have gone in the mediator, but it means I have to pass the request object through, and I don't really want to do that. So what I really want to do is pass in a start game request, similar to how I did it in the other one. Pretty sure I just passed, yeah, play game request, right? So what I want to do is something similar here. So then I'll go this equals, and then I'm going to go pass through session ID. This will be a start game request. And then that will become this. So let's create the start game request object. That'll be a model. What happened? I'm running, that's why. Models. And we'll make it public. And we'll add a constructor. And we're going to add session ID. And that's going to be set something that will always have a value. Session ID equals session ID. And we're going to generate a, not give me the option. I don't want variable, not field, not read only. I want a property. Never mind. I'll just go prop underneath. Green. Session ID. Oops. And we're just going to do get private set like that. Now we've got ourselves a request. Instantiate it. Let's bring it in. And now I need a start game response. Or a game. What did I do it for this one up here? So I think there's a play game response, but I renamed it to game response. So this might be the first time where I might need a shared library. Because this game response is exactly the same as what I will need for start game as well, right? So what we might do is we'll create a shared library. And new project. And we're going to go class library. And I said class library. Why is it showing me all these? Okay, I'm not sure why I did that. We don't want it under handlers. I think I'm just going to say, let's put it under libraries. Cool, select that folder. And I'm going to call it Toy Games dot session dot I'm going to call it shared. I'll just go dot models. No, because that feels like it should be all models. No, I'll just call it shared. Why not? But now I can change it later. But it doesn't really. I'll call it core. All your games.session.core. We can always tweak the name later. Yep, .NET 6. That's what we're going to be using. Cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add models. Where is it? Get rid of class 1. We don't need it. So this thing will go in here. And it'll now be under. So where is it? Oh, here. Games.session.core. That's the namespace. Dot models. Cool. And now this goes. So let's just quickly. Yeah, need to import. Ah, yes. And a project reference, we're going to add core. And the same to this one as well. Cool. All right. Protection level. Alright, so these are going to have to now become public. No, that won't stay internal. These have to become public. We can keep an internal constructor, that's okay. Alright, that looks good. How is it able to... Hang on a sec. How come I don't have to give it a reference at the top here? I did change the namespace, didn't I? No, I didn't. I didn't change it. I thought I did. I thought I changed this to core. Okay. That makes more sense. What's it complaining about now? Ah, yes, okay. No. Wait a minute. Play game request. Ah, yes, okay. Gotcha. Rightio. Build. Nice. I'm now going to grab the things like this, where I normally say I don't share things. This is one I can share because the response I want to go back at all my handlers is going to be the same. It'll be the status code and then a body, which will be the payload that goes back to the server, right? Or goes back to API gateway, which will then get forwarded onto the server. And I know that because if I look at here, everything is JSON stringified. Alright, so even these will go back in a particular way. I realized that these have error messages, and I've returned it as a string. I'll come back to that. I shouldn't ever come back to things, to be honest. I should just solve them now before they get worse. But let's at least get the mediator in. So I'm just gonna copy the handler here. So I'm gonna copy this handler folder. And I'm just gonna paste it in my start game handler. And I'm just gonna rename a few things and clear it out. Start game handler. Okay, and now I can focus on getting rid of all that. In fact, I will just get rid of the constructor altogether to start off with. Get rid of all these. Get rid of those namespaces. This will be a start game request. So that'll be brought in. Nice. And then I'll just return GameSpot.success. And this can be empty. Oh no. In fact, I should change this to by default be null. So I don't have to pass it in every time. So I can just do that, right? And I'll just await task dot from result. Yeah, start game request doesn't have an I request to game response, so let's add that. I request game response. Good. Take care of that. Nice. All right. So by rights, we should just get a response from this endpoint now, as long as we pass the right API. I'm now starting to think that that thing should have gone in the other method. Yeah, so if I quickly add API, oops, section ID equals blah blah. We go execute, response, body null status 200, beautiful. All right. So this code here, I'm gonna move that out of here. Wait a minute, no, I can't. I need the input in order to start the mediator. But I think I need to change it so it's not, the body isn't just a string. So this is another thing that I can add. An error. I can add an error response model to shared models. So I can just go error response. Error response data. And this is public. And we'll have internal. Yep. And this will have string. And we'll have an IEnumerable string. Error messages. So we need to server stack. What? No. I think it's complaining. Why is it complaining? Oh, because I got string at the start. There we go. My mistake. Again, we'll get rid of that indentation. This dot error messages equals error messages. So now we just need to grab a property, generate a property called error messages, and private set get. Yeah, beautiful. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have a public static I'm just trying what to call it. To be void capture. I'll just call it create. People might say this is overkill. I like more of a factory design where things can be predetermined. So for example, error messages may be null, right? So what I can do now is I can say out of the box that this is equal to null. Whoops. And then therefore, if you're trying to instantiate with this, it has to be null. Or in fact, I can do it even better than that. I can put it here and make this null. So then I can just go dot create, right? And then all I have to do is, oh, I don't know what I have to do here. It's like a singleton pattern. So do that, and let's return new error response data, error messages. Beautiful. And then so that's in the shared. And I just realized I can't use this for, well, actually I can, but I'm going to have to serialize it in the handler differently to the serializer I'm using everywhere else. So where is the functions? So this now needs to be dot create, and this is a, can I do this? No. No, doesn't let me. Oh, no, I don't need that. Inside the new class, the list is empty. Oh, do I need that? No. But that's iterable, right? That's iterable string. Why is it complaining? Ah, wait. It's complaining because this isn't converted to error messages. And then I need to JSON serializer dot serialize error messages, error response, I should call it, not error messages, error response. Beautiful. Now what's the rest of the stuff it's complaining about? Ah. Okay. Beautiful. And that's all I need to do there, I believe. Get that looking cleaner. And then I just need to copy this behavior in the other one. So start game handler. No. What I'm going to do here though is I'm actually going to set this as a session ID that could be null. There we go. This is exactly the same. I'd even say that this could be a special type of error. We could say create create 500. No, create system error. We go one step further with this. And I can just go create system error like that. And now this goes into, not there, but in here. This would be error response data. It's always going to return something. Now this returns, so instead of create for now, actually no, I will leave that because I'll leave it, I'll be using it soon. So we can just say create. And now instead of just return this. You can call this create like that. No. I think that's good. So now I can just go error response data, create system error in both functions. So that one's already done. So then I can just grab this. Come over here. But then it makes me feel like, nah, we'll leave it at that. So now we're going to try and get this session ID, and rather than doing this, I will hold on to that. And we're going to forward that through to here. So that keeps this a little bit leaner. So now going into the mediator. First step will be to check if request.sessionID is null. But a part of me feels like I need to return. Oh, it won't be new game response. Sorry, new property response. It'll be game response. And it'll be return game response dot server error. No, that's not going to be it. Bad request. Like that. Here's the next thing. Just if I go bad request like that, body is brought in as a string. So that now means I have to serialize this. Trying to get my APIs right here. Yeah, it's hot. What's the weather? I think it's the monitors. They're just too big and they make me hot. It's only 19 degrees outside. But they're always so hot. Well, I got 1 hour to go, so I'm going to have to see my way through this API a little bit. Let's have a look at what we're dealing with in terms of all these files. So I could create a shared service that converts a game response. No, but this is... No, I think I'll leave that for now. More this bit. Getting the body string. Because it's the same situation here, right? That's to complete the... So it's just there's logic in here. This is really dependent on the input of the system, though. It's not really, there's not a lot of business logic in there except for whether it's there changing the services, and there's not much I can do about that from a testing point of view. But from the mediator's perspective, I need to make sure I make this as clean as I possibly can. So back to here. Does game response have something like is successful? I need to add here. No. Validator dot messages. Yeah, I know what I'll do. So I need a services folder. I'm gonna have an I validation service. try that. So we can go that game validator service. That's an interface. Public. Semicolon. Just comment this out for a second. So I can go private, read only. Oops. That validated service. Yep. The constructor. Obviously, I'm going to add in start. Oh, there it was. Beautiful. Now I haven't added validate. Or could I? Actually, I might even have a better way. I validate a service of type start game request. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Use some generics, right? Cool. And then basically this will now go into core as an interface. Interfaces. What am I doing? I'm going to rename this to validator service. iValidator service. Beautiful. And it'll be of type T, where T is class. We won't get too specific, we'll just make it a class. And that will stay as well. Cool. Nice. And now we can do something like var validation results equals dot game validator service dot validate request. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, so this needs to return a validation result. Whoops. Silly me. It's not a model, so not really a model. I'm just going to put results for now. Validation result. And for now, it doesn't need anything in it. We'll just put public class validation results so we can see it. Again, that'll be namespaced out. Did I do that for the other one? I did. And here, yeah. But not the interface, right? No, I did it for that as well. Just gonna go through my code a little bit. I wish it would, I'll need to work out what I need to do to make it a one-line namespace like that most of the time. I've done it for all these, I'm sure of it. Yep, yep. 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 Also, I did it all for that, all those. Cool. All right, that's fine. Cool. What? No. The request. This will be validation result. Cool. And I'll go if validation result dot is valid. Sorry, it's is invalid. What? I was gonna say is invalid. Then we're going to return game response dot. Just try to think how I'm gonna still serialize this. Bad request. Validation result. Error messages. So then I'll have, let's go serializer. Let's serialize relation result.error messages. It just feels like there's too many things going on at once on the one line. All right, I'm gonna take another 5 minutes. I'm just sweating a little bit. I need to get out and cool down a bit, and I might come back, yeah, in about 5. So I'll see you then. Okay, I'm back. Cool. So I'm just trying to get what kind of API I want to write for this. So, I need to serialize the response before I send it back, right? And I want to do it in one place. It'd be nice if the mediator had the ability to, like, for me to create a class that whenever I return an object from here, it would instantly serialize the body of the response. But I don't. I mean, the obvious thing I could do to simplify things is to have the serializer only do its job in the function. So instead of going just response.body, here I go JSON serializer.serialize response.body, and response.body in this case is an object. And it might be that I send a regain response of type something, but then it doesn't give me a chance to return multiple objects if I want to return an error here. Okay, no, let's work this out. So I am going to remove the serialization from the other one as well. So here I was in the services, I had a serializer. I'm actually going to remove it. I'm not going to use it at all. So what we're going to do is so I've got error response data. And this essentially will be an error response that goes from game response. We go error response T of game response T, where T is a class, and then game response now becomes a game response of type T, where T is a class. And now instead of giving a game response of status code and then string, we can give a T of data. Now this becomes data, and that becomes data, which is of type T. So now T becomes, body becomes T, and this becomes data. And now this becomes T, and that becomes data. And that becomes game response T. That becomes game response T. And that becomes data. Becomes game response T. And T. And this becomes an error message. Well, actually now this probably goes out of here. And maybe even this one. Unless I go new error response. And that becomes IEnumerable. Nah, that's not good. We're going to simplify this a bit. Okay. So now let's have a look at error response, which now should say error response, not error response data. Now we just need to go and change all these. Oops. Oops. And now we just go base 5. Well, actually, we should really pass in here int status code. So now we pass in base status code. And that shouldn't be there, it should be here. And then error messages. And then we go error response dot create. So that will create one of these. But it has nothing to do with T, that's the only thing, right? Well, error response has nothing to do with T. You know what? We can have error response which inherits from game response, doesn't have a T in it whatsoever. I mean, that doesn't make sense that we don't need it and yet I'm passing it. This feels like a so game response now. Oh, bugger off. So in this case, there's no T now. Oh, but data, hang on, no, but data could be, actually, go back. We don't need to, we need to call create. And then I think what we do is we create a response of I enumerable string. And now instead of, so we create system error. Yeah, I think that will work. But game response can also be used here. So now I can just put it here. I'm gonna create another model called test response. Or yeah, I'll just say success response. I'll pop T, which will inherit from game response of type T, where T is a class. And then I'm going to let it do what it needs to do. I think it needs to call the base constructor. Generate constructor, yeah. Beautiful. We don't need to do anything else. But now I just want to create a static class, so public static. That's no, because then I have to go success response dot success. Now that just seems weird. No, you know what? Get rid of that. Scrap that idea. If you get a game response, it's a success. So then, if that's the case, then game response dot generate. Generate no, I'll just call it success. Public static game response. That's passing in an optional T. And then just return new game response. I'll type T, well I don't need that. Data equals data. No, do I just say data? Oh, I need to type argument. Okay. My C# skills are not the best anymore. Alright, so now I can go game response.success data when I need to. So let's find the code where it does that. So I'm going to start in the, I think it's all on the handlers, to be honest. So the serializer is gone. We don't need that anymore. It's good, it's one less dependency to worry about. So now I'm going to go game response. What's the element that I'm returning here? Play game response data. Response dot create what was it doing before? Server error. Alright, so if I can't generate a new code, then that's a fail error, right? Not 400, come. And we're gonna say, what I might do is I might have two creates, one with just a single string in it, so I don't have to keep trying to send an enumerable through. So let's do another one where it's just a string. And the string has to be passed. And I don't think I should ever allow null there either. Or here. Get rid of all that. Means that this should always have a value. Alright, so create, we're passing in a regular string, new list string, And I just realized I don't need error messages because it should be passed here. Cool, so now I should better go back in and just say, what do I want to say here again? Could not do something. Why is it? Again, response? No. They're two different entities. That's the problem, right? That was the problem. So this has to be T. So this has to be T. Because if it's not T, then I can't call response dot create T. Not task. Sorry. Play response data. No, this modeling is still not working out the way I want. So if I do that, now I'm going to have a public bool is successful. Get these, none of these should be, they be private sets, right? Equals now I just put that, it says case 200. So if that's the case, it's successful. Otherwise it's not successful. That could be, I could get a 201 from something. But I control it, it's mine. I'm going to always return a 200. Oh no, because if I delete something, I need to return a 204. Or if I, technically, actually, for a created, this should be 201. Alright. That code is successful. Equals. Oh, whoops. Not boolean, bool is successful. So now I can go, yep, And now this one will be success code. That'll be no. We're just gonna have to do it this way. And game responses, everything's gonna have to inherit from game response. Because the thing I'm going to be returning is game response. So even now, I don't need it's successful. Then I can't get my mind made up here. I feel like every time I change it, I'm not going to be able to. No, I have to. So the problem is I'm returning a potential error response or a success response, and they both have different shapes. That's the problem I'm having, right? So then in that case, see, in TypeScript this is easier. We just said it's T or enumerable, right? Or enumerable, but this is C#, right? I might have to stop the stream and give this a thought and come back to it tomorrow. I've been on for nearly 2 hours anyway, so yeah. My brain needs to think, because I work full time as well, right? So I get burnt out from the day, and then I'm coming on the evening and trying to do more. So, but I think I need to go away and think about this a bit, and then come back and implement something. So anyway, I'm gonna head off. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.